Hi guys, this is Mrs. Rooker, and I'm just going to do a quick little video where I go through each of the problems from the final review. I may not do every single problem completely, but just kind of, get you started on all of them. So this first one is solving. We need to first simplify the left and simplify the right, and then start solving. So first thing I usually want to do is deal with these parentheses. So I'm going to distribute to get rid of the parentheses. 34.8x just stays as it was. And then we have 0.2 times x is 0.2x. And then 0.2 times negative 4, 0.2 times 4 is going to be negative 0.8. And that equals negative 16.8 plus 27x. Nothing else had changed, just got rid of those parentheses. Now, take a look at this left side. We've got some like terms. We're going to combine those next. 34.8 plus 0.2 is going to be 35x minus 0.8 equals negative 16.8 plus 27x. And then the left side's simplified, the right side's simplified. So the next thing I need to do is get the x's together on one side. I'm going to move this one since it's smaller. The way to move something to the other side is to do opposite of what it was. So this was plus 27. I want to do minus 27x. Whatever we do on the left, we also have to do on the right. And I'm putting it under the 35 since those are like terms, 35x. 35x minus 27x is 8x minus 0.8 equals negative 16.8 because those canceled. And then I want to move things away from the x. I need to move the 8. I also need to move the 0.8. I want to move the 0.8 first. Opposite of minus 0.8 is plus 0.8. 8x equals negative 16.8 plus 0.8 is going to be negative 16. Remember, you guys can use calculators on these, so use those to your advantage. And then the final step, this is 8 times x. The opposite of multiplying by 8 is dividing by 8. So divide both sides by 8. We're left with x equals negative 2. And we would type this in, well, type it in as negative 2. Bubble in the negative, bubble in the 2. Moving on to number 5. Again, when we solve this, we want to simplify the left and simplify the right first. I notice on the left here, I've got like terms, so I'm going to combine those first. I'm left with 7x minus 2 equals 7x minus 2. Normally the next step would be getting the x's together, but you might notice that if you try to move this x to the other side, they're going to cancel. We'll be left with negative 2 equals 2. Or sorry, negative 2. Whenever the x's cancel, you're either going to have no solution or infinitely many solutions. Actually, we would normally call this all real numbers, but that's okay. If you have a true statement, like negative 2 equals negative 2. That's true. Those are equal. Then our answer isn't no solution. We're going to call that infinitely many solutions. Really, we'd call it all real numbers, but that's okay. All right. If this was a false statement, like if we had negative 2 equals 12, then the answer would be no solution. All right, if the following inequalities, or which of the following inequalities represents the solution to that? All right, so we're just going to solve again, combine like terms first. 3a minus 6a is going to give me negative 3a. Then we still have this plus 3 greater than 15. We solve this just like we would an equation, except if you multiply or divide by a negative, you flip the sign. So we're trying to move things away from the a. The first thing I'm going to move is this plus 3. The opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. Whatever I do on the left, I also have to do on the right. We get negative 3a is greater than 12. Final step, divide by negative 3. Really important though, when you divide by -3, you flip the sign. So we'll end up with a is less than -4. Alright, a linear function has a slope of a -2/3 and goes through the point 0, 6. What point on the graph represents an x-intercept of the function? Alright, well, x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. This horizontal one is the x-axis. So the points on the x-axis are B and A. So it can't be C or D. Sorry, that was me crossing that one out. Alright, so it's got to be A or B. Now let's actually graph this. It goes through the point 0, 6. So let's just start with that point, 0, 6, which is right there. And then we'll do the slope. Down 2 over 3 is what -2 over 3 means. So down 2 over 1, 2, 3. Down 2 over 1, 2, 3. Down 2 over 1, 2, 3. Which means the line goes through point A, not point B. So my answer must be A. Alright, number 11. What is the equation of the line graphed below? Alright, so again, process of elimination. I noticed that the y-intercept is -6. This has a y-intercept of -6, a b value. Remember, y equals mx plus b, where b is the y-intercept. And this also has a y-intercept of -6. The other two say that the y-intercept is 9, which is false. Alright, and then the next thing, I need to count the slope. I want to see, does it go up 2 over 3 or does it go up 3 over 2? So if I go up 3 from here, 1, 2, 3 over 2, that would be the next point. So it's not up 3 over 2. It must be from here, up 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3. Up 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3. So the slope is up 2 over 3. So B must be our correct answer. Alright, which is the graph of that function? I'm thinking the easiest thing to do is going to be to get this into slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and then we can go from there. So to get this into y equals mx plus b, we want to get y by itself. So I'm going to move the 20 first. What's the opposite of plus 20? That would be minus 20. So that will be gone. These cannot combine. We'll leave them separate. 5x minus 20 equals 4y. And then the final step is to divide everything by 4, and then y will be by itself. So every single thing gets divided. So we'll end up with 5/4 x, and then minus 20 divided by 4 is going to be 5, equals y. I usually like the y to be on the other side though, so I'm just going to move it to the other side. Or basically, I'm just flipping around the whole equation. Alright, so we need a y-intercept of -5. The only one that I see that has a y-intercept of -5 is this one here. All the others have different y-intercepts. And then let's just double check that the slope is up 5 over 4. So from here, go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the correct slope. So C is our correct answer. 14, which equation of the line passes through those 2 points? Alright, so if you look at each of these equations, these are written in HK form. Let me write that form over here. Y equals m times x minus h plus k, where h and k are a coordinate point on that line. Big thing to note is that we have a negative in front of this h. That means that the h is always opposite, or the number in here is opposite of the coordinate point. So, for example, I'm just going to look at A really quick. And I have positive 1/2, positive 8, which means that this equation, or this line, contains the point negative 1/2, comma, 8, which is one of the points that we have. What we don't know about A is if it also contains this point. I'm going to now move on to one of the others, because I know that A is one of the options that might work. I'm going to move on and just kind of eliminate some of the others. If I look at B, I notice that it's positive 3/2 and positive 5. Well, that means that it contains the point negative 3/2, comma, 5, because we always do opposite of this one. That's not one of the points that we have here. So B is not one of our answer options. So A might be, but B is not. Now let's go over to C. C has negative 1/2, comma, 8. But remember, this is supposed to be opposite of this. So C is not a correct answer option. And then D has negative 3/2, comma, 5, which means it contains the point 3/2, comma, 5, which is one of our points. So that is an answer option. So it's either going to be A or D. What I would now do is plug in the other point and see if it works. Or if you want to, you could graph. If you're more visual, you could graph. But I'm just going to plug in. I'm going to erase some stuff because it's really messy right now. But I'm going to plug in the point 3/2, comma, 5 into this equation, because I know that it contains the point negative 1/2, 8 because of this part, but I want to see if it also contains this point. All right, so I'm going to plug 5 in for the y and 3/2 in for the x. And see if I get a true statement. 5 equals, so 3/2 plus 1/2 is going to be 4/2. 4/2 is 4 divided by 2, which is just 2. So it's going to be 3/2 times 2 plus 8. 3/2 times 2, this is just 2 over 1. The 2's on top cancel, so this will be 3. 3 plus 8 is 11. 5 does not equal 11. So it can't be A, so we know our answer is going to be D. I want to confirm that, though, by plugging in again. I'm just going to plug negative 1/2, comma, 8 into this one, just to be sure. So 8 equals negative 3/2 times negative 1/2 minus 3/2 plus 5. Start in the parentheses. Negative 1/2 minus 3/2 is negative 4/2. And remember, 4 divided by 2, or 4/2, just simplifies to 2. It's going to be 8 equals negative 3 over 2 times negative 2 plus 5. The 2's will cancel again. Negative times a negative is a positive. 3 plus 5 equals 8, which is true. So D is our correct answer. It's a little long. Again, graphing might be a better way for some of you who are more visual. All right. Next question says, select the equation that has a slope of 1/2 and goes through the point negative 6, comma, 2. All right, so what we have here is a bunch of equations written in different forms. What I think I'm going to do is eliminate all the ones that don't have a slope of 1/2 first, and kind of go from there. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So F, this is written almost in HK form. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move the 6 to the other side. Now that's in HK form. So this one does have a slope of 1/2, so that's good. And then in a minute we'll check and see if it also contains the point, negative 6, 2. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. I'm going to move the 2. So this one also has a slope of 1/2, so that's good. And then, like I said, in a minute we'll check and see if it also contains the point 6, 2. All right, next one. This is not in y equals mx plus b, so I'm going to move it around a little bit, get it into y equals mx plus b. I'm going to first subtract the x. We'll be left with 2y equals negative x plus 5. And then I'm going to divide everything by 2. Now this is in y equals mx plus b. But it doesn't have a slope of 1/2. It has a slope of negative 1/2. So I know that that is not one of my answer options. I does contain 1/2 as a slope. And in a minute I'll check to see if it also contains the point that we want. J, same thing as on H. I need to do some solving for y to get it into y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I'll be left with negative 2y equals negative x minus 10. Divide everything by negative 2. I'm left with y equals negative divided by a negative is positive x over 2 plus 5. Which is interesting. That is exactly the same as the one above it. That doesn't mean that it contains the point that we want, but it does mean that it has the correct slope. So that one might work. And then K also has the correct slope. So really the only one that didn't have the correct slope was H. So I'm going to plug in, or really just check to see that it contains the point. I'm going to write it down here so it's easy to see. Negative 6, 2. All right. Now I'm plugging in negative 6, 2 to the first one. So 2 goes in for the y. And then 1/2 times negative 6 goes in for the x. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. 1/2 plus 6. Half of negative 8 is negative 4. And then negative 4 plus 6 is 2. So 2 equals 2. That does contain the point that we want. And then the next one. This is in HK form. And to see what point this would be, we do opposite of this, same as this. Opposite of 6 is negative 6. And then the same as 2. So this does contain the point negative 6, 2. So that's good. Now let's try I. And remember, I and J ended up being the same line. So if I works, then J will also, and vice versa. So plug in negative 6, 2. 2 equals 1/2 times negative 6 plus 5. 2 equals, well, half of negative 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2. So that means both of those are also correct answers. And if those are correct answers, then K can't be a correct answer because it's got a different y-intercept. But we can also confirm that if we want. 2 equals 1/2 times negative 6 plus 2. Half of negative 6 is negative 3 plus 2, which would be negative 1, which doesn't equal 2. So that doesn't work. So F, G, I, and J all work. Moving on. What are the coordinates of the x-intercept of this equation? All right, remember when, or to find an x-intercept, you set the y equal to 0, or I call this the cover-up method. So if we set y equal to 0, 0 times anything is just 0. So really, I can just cover up or get rid of this whole thing, the whole y term, and I'm left with 6x equals 24. Divide both sides by 6. And I get that x equals 4. So my x-intercept is 4. Remember when we write an x-intercept, the x is 4 and the y is 0. So my answer is D. Given the graph and the equation, which statement about the slope is correct? What I would do is count the slope on line A, figure out the slope on line B, and then compare. So to count the slope on line A, I pick 2 nice points. So this I would consider a nice point. It's on a corner. And then this is also a nice point. I start on the left and I go to the right and I count rise over run. Up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. So the slope for line A is 4. Or 4 over 1. And for the other one, I want to get that into y equals mx plus b. So I try to get y by itself. I subtract the 3x. We have negative y equals negative 3x plus 12. And then I divide everything by a negative 1 to get rid of that negative. Y equals 3x minus 12. The slope is going to be 3. So the slope of line A is larger than the slope of line B. Determine which tables and graphs represent functions. All right, just to do this quick and easy, when you're looking at a table, if you have repeating x values, it is not a function. So what I mean by that is we've got negative 3 and negative 3. That's a repeating x value. It's not a function. This one, no repeating x value. This one, no repeating x value. It's okay that it has a repeating y value. All I care about is that there's no repeating x value. If you're looking at a graph, the thing you need to check is the vertical line test. If you draw a vertical line, so straight up and down, and it crosses the line more than once, it is not a function. If I draw a vertical line on this, it only crosses once. No matter where I draw that line, it is only crossing the function once. So that is a function. Vertical line test on this. There's nowhere on here that I can draw a vertical line and that line is going to cross more than once. So this is also a function. So my answer is F, H, J, K. Moving on. If h of x equals negative 1/2 x plus 3, find the value of h of negative 29. This is just a fancy way of saying plug negative 29 in for the x. So I'm going to do h of negative 29 equals, and I'm just going to write this, negative 1/2. But instead of x, I'm putting negative 29 plus 3. I can see that they want our answer to be in fraction form, so I'm not going to write this as a decimal. You could, and then just convert it back in the end. I'm just going to simplify. Remember, negative times a negative is a positive, and I'm going to put 29 over 1 to make it a fraction. So this is going to equal 29 over 2 plus 3. Well, in order to combine these, I need common denominators. 3 is the same as 3 over 1, but I need a denominator of 2. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom. Multiply top and bottom by 2. That way this will be 29 over 2 plus 6 over 2. Add those together and I get 35 over 2. All right, next one, the point negative 12 comma n is an ordered pair in that function. What is the value of n? Bubble in your answer in the grid below. So we know x is negative 12, but we don't know what y is. So what I'm going to do is plug this in for x and figure out what y would have to be. Remember, f of x we can just write as y for our purposes right here. So I'm plugging negative 12 in for x. Oops, negative 12. So y equals 3 times negative 12 is negative 36. And we still have that minus 9. Combine those, negative 36 minus 9 is negative 45. And then bubble in negative 4, 5. A cell phone company charges $45 a month for single phone line and $15 for every gigabyte used that month. Which function models how many, the total monthly cost for the bill. All right, so you pay $15 for every gigabyte, so that's like per gigabyte. So we're going to multiply 15 times however many gigabytes we use. But we don't know how many gigabytes we use. So it's going to be 15 times x because we don't know how many gigabytes we're using. But we do know that we are for sure being charged $45 once for that month. So this is going to be my function, except obviously I should have f of x written in front of it. I can't combine these because this has an x, this does not. So I'm going to leave them separate. This one isn't right because the x should be on the 15, not the 45. Moving on. What is an approximate value for x when they are equal? Okay, when they are equal is when they cross. The solution is where the two lines cross. So I'm going to estimate the x value. Remember, this is the x-axis. The x value is about 1, 2, 1, 2, 2.5, negative 2.5. I'm estimating that this coordinate point is about negative 2.5, 1.5. So the x is about negative 2.5. All right, the graph and the table of values are given to represent two linear equations in a system of equations. Which of the following is the solution? Since I have a graph, it might just be easiest, or I think it's definitely easiest to just graph these points on this line. So negative 1, 6, 0, 4, and 1, 2. And then I just follow this pattern. It looks like the slope is down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And it appears like these lines cross at the point 2, 0. So that's my solution. Which coordinate, or which x coordinate is in the solution for this system? So to solve this, I'm either using substitution, elimination, or graphing. I'm going to use elimination because these are both in standard form. And I'm going to choose to eliminate the y's first so that I can very easily solve for x, or very quickly solve for x without having to find y first. To get these to eliminate, the y's to eliminate, I want this to be a negative 8. So I'm going to multiply everything by 4. This will be 4x minus 8y equals 20. And then I add straight down and the y's will cancel. I'll end up with 7x, and I add these two. Y's cancel, equals 21. Then really quick, solve, divide by 7. X equals 3. Alright, next one. Which y coordinate is the solution to this system of equations? So this one's a little less straightforward. I personally like elimination best, so I'm going to get these both into standard form and do elimination. So I'm going to subtract the x's to the other side on both of them. This will be negative 0.5x plus y equals 2. And then this will be, add the x to the other side. Oops, x, not 8. This will be x minus y equals 3. Now, it's tempting to want to eliminate the y's because they're already opposite, but I think it'll be quicker in the long run if we just eliminate the x's. That way we have answers for y right away. So to eliminate the x, this is 1x, and I can get this one to be negative 1x if I just multiply the whole thing by 2, because a half times 2 is going to be a whole. It's going to be 1. So negative, oops, I don't even want negative 2. I just want 2 because I want this to remain negative. So this will be 2 times negative 0.5 is going to be negative 1x. 2 times y is 2y equals 2 times 2 is 4. Add straight down. Negative 1y plus 2y is just 1y equals 7. So that's my correct answer. All right. Next one, which is the graph of y is less than 3x plus 4. So less than means shade below. And the fact that there's no or equal to on this means that it's a dotted line. So what that means is I can eliminate any of them that have solid lines. So C was a solid line, it gets eliminated. And then also eliminate any that are shaded above, because I'm supposed to shade below the line. So D looks like it was shaded above the line, so it gets eliminated. And then my only answer options are A and B, and I need to check to see which one is the correct line. It needs to have a y-intercept of 4 and a slope of up 3 over 1. This one has a y-intercept of 4. A has an x-intercept of 4. That's not what this means. This is y-intercept. If it's not A, it's got to be B. And that is it. Okay, that was quick. All right, thank you for watching.